Now, specifically in Poder Sano, which is health through strength or strength health, or I'm botching Spanish here, but you work specifically on HIV/AIDS detection, prevention, and treatment. What should people know about the problems with HIV/AIDS in the rural Latino community?
Sure.
And is it something that is hard to talk about publicly because of the stigmas that are associated with it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think one of the biggest issues that we have right now is that there's a huge lack of data because nobody wants to put money into small-scale studies or studies in rural areas or studies, in with farm workers. It just isn't done, unfortunately. But there have been some small-scale studies that show that, the HIV rate can be up to 10 times as high as the general population. Now, looking at that as well as the social determinants of health, that is to say, poverty, immigration status, substandard housing, mobile lifestyle, discrimination, all of these things increase your risk for HIV tremendously. And so that's why I think it's sort of the perfect storm in the rural Latino communities and among farm workers, because they're already, exposed to so many different risk factors. And another thing that we're looking at is there's a lot of loneliness and isolation. One of the biggest risk groups actually is heterosexual women in Mexico. What happens a lot is that they stay back in Mexico. Their husbands or boyfriends travel north to work. And there, they have sex with commercial sex workers. They have sex with other men, with each other, unprotected sex. They come home and infect their wives with HIV because you can't really demand a condom from your husband. That's just not done. So like you said, I think a lot of these issues, you have to tread very carefully. We know that the epidemic is being driven by men who have sex with men, but we call that in public health lingo MSM. But that's not an identifiable group. It's not a group that you self-identify with. And so it's, do we talk about sex in general, like use a condom when you have sex in general, or are we specific and maybe risking that people won't listen because they don't identify even though they engage in those behaviors. So it's definitely very difficult, but I think because we work with community organizations on the ground that know their communities very well, that are part of their communities, it makes it much easier for sort of outsiders, for academics, for, all of us to sort of come in and come up with the best solutions for, specific geographic communities.
Do you feel like you're making progress?
I think all of us who work in this kind of field, we hope that we make progress, because otherwise why would we get up in the morning, right? I think so, I hope so. And I think especially now with immigration reform, hopefully making some progress as well. I think that's going to make a really big difference for farm workers. I mean, fear of deportation and other issues like that have been such a huge problem in terms of receiving health care. People are afraid to go to the doctor because they're afraid they're going to get deported. So hopefully that's going to make a big difference. And I think they're going to start voting on it on Monday. So hopefully they'll get done before the 4th of July recess with the immigration reform.
Well,
crossing my fingers.
I'm with you there, and I'm certainly hoping for that, though I think that the House of Representatives is still a big question mark and a big hurdle there. But it's such a good point that you make, that when we keep people in the shadows, we increase the spread of horrible diseases like HIV/AIDS. And even if you think that all these people that came here that are not necessarily having permanent legal status as citizens should leave, you should consider that an American question, because that's going to spread, and that's from a very practical perspective. I think that's something that people might want to take into consideration, and I think it's a very important way to sort of put a local and human face on this broader issue of immigration reform.
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you, Valentina, how did you decide to become an activist and not, let's say, a management consultant at, I don't know, Booz Allen Hamilton?
It never occurred to me. Their paycheck's probably a little higher, right? I come from a family of immigrants. My mom had to leave Chile during the dictatorship in 1983 over there, and we've moved around a lot. And my parents are both they're both activists, and I don't think I could have ever done anything different. So, join me. I'm here.
Well, Valentina, I'm sorry that your mother had to flee, but I'm glad that we got to have you here in the United States. You are our Activist of the Week. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you, Valentina Stagel, for Farm Worker Justice. Valentina's going to stick around when we talk about Paula Deen next after this break.